Hello everyone, the December Review here, back again with the next installment of the Little Voice series. We are down to the final 2 weeks of Season 1. Episode 8 is called Sea Change, and it could have also been titled Bess's Really Horrible Very Bad Day. Yikes. But first, and as always, make sure to head on over to apple.com to check out this series plus many other great programming options for yourself. They have a free week trial to get yourself started with. So the penultimate chapter, Sea Change, starts off with just where things left off, the next morning after Bess's dad had drunkenly stumbled off into the night. As a quick aside, being a big Sarah B fan, I can't help but hear the line, "Helpless felt this coming from a mile away," after thinking of Sea Change, from the excellent song Islands. It's one of my top faves in her collection. It's also fitting here because with each passing episode, we did see this coming from a mile away. At least we thought we did, because there's a big surprise coming here. So, Bess wakes up and heads out to find her dad. She begrudgingly at first brings along Samuel to help out. She says to him it's been about a decade since she has seen her dad in this kind of shape, and that she has felt bad taking money from him recently, now knowing the potential struggle he was in. Later, Prisha joins in, and she eventually asks his singing group if they have seen him. No trace of Percy to be found. The day also happens to be the do-over for Louis' birthday. Bess and Percy were set to take him to a Broadway show to make up for the very lackluster original celebration. So with Dad missing, Bess has to make up a lie as to where Dad is and break the news that the second go-around is also a bust. It's then where a knock on the door hits, and for a moment, we think Percy may have pulled himself together and found his way back. Well, as the door swings open, we find not their dad, but their mom. That's right, Bess and Louis' mom. The one who had abandoned them years ago is standing at the door and ready to make amends. This was a powerful moment, a holy shit moment if there ever was one, that's for sure. Louis is happy to see her, but Bess is reluctant, eventually fibbing her way out of the situation, but agreeing to meet up with her later on, just the two of them. Bess and Louis make their way to the elderly facility where she introduces her brother to the group and sings a Frank Sinatra song. It's a bittersweet scene which just adds to the sadness the overall tone has taken recently. We then stroll back to the Chateau de Storage units where Bess finds Ethan has packed up and moved out, leaving behind just a few Scrabble pieces that spell out, of course, Songbird. She probably didn't need that emotional kick to the shins at that moment in time. Well, she ends up having that lunch with her mom, who explains that she never intended to be gone as long as she was. As time went along, she felt worse about things and couldn't reach out to them. She eventually found God and the inner strength to forgive herself for leaving, which brought the courage to show up again in their lives. Well, less than thrilled, Bess asks that what the next line was going to be when she rehearsed this scenario with her preacher. Ouch. Bess is getting all the craziness thrown at her big time. Is she about to finally break? So we cut to Prisha watching Jeopardy with her parents and son Deep. She steps out to get some air and he follows. Turns out, he has something to tell her, and that's he's in love with someone else. Relieved, Prisha confesses she is as well, and also comes out to him. It's a big moment for her as she gets a bit of a resolution in the situation. She manages to muck things up a bit though, because instead of going back inside to explain the situation to her parents, they agree, per Prisha's idea, that they continue to fake the relationship to keep them happy for the time being. Hey, what could possibly go wrong there? Well, that idea is quickly met with a frown as we find Prisha getting ready for a show with her band. She tells her girlfriend the news. She isn't that impressed, and in fact gets angry as to why she needs to be a secret. That evening we are at the bar where Bess is working. She is noticeably upset and angry. She does, however, wave off a drink, but when Benny pops in to let her know that he has another executive ready to meet with her, she basically tells him to go screw and that her music career is over. She then belts back a shot, and then her boss tries to give her a pep talk. He says she may be in the tunnel now, but there will be a way out. She doesn't want to hear it, and then right on cue, bang, enter Ethan. Things get frantic as he is there to let her know that he couldn't keep the storage unit because he needed the money for something else. See, he finally broke it off with his girlfriend. This lands the two of them alone, where Bess basically tells him to go screw and that it was no problem letting his girlfriend down easy, all the while hurting her. She lets him have it here. Bess heads back to the bar in full tear mode as Sam watches from a distance. We cut to Prisha alone, starting to tear up herself. Mom is shown in a room putting out a picture of Bess and Louie and then praying. We then have a fantastic shot of Louie alone, his reflection bouncing off the window as a storm lights up the outside, as we let the rain come down, hopefully building a brand new ground. And we end with Bess walking home, eyes up, continuing to look for her dad. Fade out, roll credits. So that's Sea Change. Bess is in a whole lot of hell right now. We saw this starting a few episodes back, but it felt like things were moving back in the right direction up until she bumped into her dad. It's been one big mess since. Being the second to last episode, we did get a few things moved along in the plot. Pris's situation got a bit clearer in the sense that she is halfway through the relationship struggle. The hardest part is next, where she has to have the talk with her parents, but I have a feeling they will be happy as long as she is. Just need Prisha to get into that moment, which I think we probably will next week. I like to say that we have some resolution to Ethan, but we all know that's not the case. Sure, she told him off, rightfully so, but now that both sides have had their time to get things out, I think we will see him be a centerpiece to things next week as well. For the record, I am officially Team Samuel. Sure, he could back off a tad, but let's face it, Bess needs all the help she can get right now. Oddly enough, there wasn't any new music this week. I say oddly, but in reality, the original music has all been built around each episode where Bess is creative. Sea Change was all about everything but the music, so no new tunes, but we do get a few scenes of Madison Cunningham and her band singing at the bar, which was great. And call me crazy, but her bass player sure looked familiar. Any other fans out there, please comment below if that was who I thought it was. If so, another pretty cool musical connection sprinkled throughout the series. So a pretty solid episode overall. It simultaneously moved things forward while opening up a whole other situation with Mom returning. Percy is still MIA, which is concerning considering he missed the second birthday take. Well, it all comes down to next week, the final episode of Season 1. If you have managed to follow along in these videos, I want to say a big thank you. There is a nice little voice community out there, which is great since the show was so well written, acted, and directed. Looking forward to the last chapter, and as always, please like and subscribe, and I'll be back in a few days with what will most likely be a cry-fest finale.